Y'all, James Charles is fully back on TikTok now after taking a little bit of a break after addressing the whole Kayla situation. Y'all know he made his video. I already made a video talking about that. And since then, he kind of took a little bit of a break, and then now he's been back to regularly posting. I gotta say, I don't know how these people who, everyone, not just James, but like all celebrities and things like that, I don't know how they like move forward with this, especially somebody like James, because obviously, like, he manages his own social media. I'm pretty sure that's, a given at this point. You can tell by his responses and obviously him making reply videos to things that obviously it is in fact him managing his own social media. I could understand if like Kim Kardashian was going through like a, I don't know, scandal or whatever. Like, I'm sure she doesn't even manage her own social media. So I feel like for celebrities, it may be a little bit more easy, but somebody who is obviously, a social media personality, I feel like they're more in tuned with controlling their own social media because obviously they know they're the ones that created themselves on social media, as to where a celebrity, I feel like social media is their, secondhand job type of thing. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, they were a celebrity firsthand for whatever reason, whether it be reality TV or acting, singing, and then a social media personality. Obviously, that's their, bread and butter. So I have to say, okay, and I know that I'm probably gonna get like, misconstrued once again, as I usually do, because I'm just really starting to realize now that I'm just like, no matter what the hell I say, people are gonna take one little bit and they're gonna run with it, which I think is so crazy. Because when you make daily videos like I do, and I obviously talk so damn much, like damn, like if I could just learn to shut my mouth, that would be great. But obviously, it's just who I am. I think that it's so crazy that a person could hear one little thing and they're gonna run with it. Say, for example, if I say like 1% of a positive thing about James Charles and then 99% negative, they'll focus on that 1% thing. And I'm like, oh my God, like, everyone who watches my videos now needs to realize that I am not a hateful bitch, okay? I'm not a spiteful bitch. I am not one of those people who want to get on the internet and bash people. I'm just a gossiper. That's literally just it. So when I look at a situation like what I'm about to say, I obviously look at it and I'm like, oh, well, actually, you know what? That's kind of crazy and I can't believe that. And then this, oh my God, that's shady. Do you know what I mean? I'm going to have different opinions about the whole situation. Do you know what I mean? I've said it before and I'll say it again. I am never going to be that person that is just going to bash somebody, even if it's somebody like James Charles, who obviously I have made it so freaking abundantly clear on this damn channel for years that I have never liked a James Charles. I've never bashed him, even when I did reviews of his products before. Like, obviously, that would have been a perfect opportunity for me to be a fake bitch and like just bash his product. But I was like, oh, actually, this palette's good. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm never going to be that fake bitch, and I don't want to put that much hate out into the world. And I do notice with some comments, I'm like, wow, out of this whole video of me talking shit about James Charles, you picked up this one thing where I gave him a little bit of credit over here for this, and this. I'm like, it's bizarre to me that people are like that, but I guess people's brains just, compute and process different than mine. Because what I was going to say, specifically going back to these comments, I gotta give James a little bit of respect here, okay? And I think that if you actually like look at the situations, if you're on social media like I am, and like scrolling through so many different like dramas happening, a lot of people turn off their comments when something scandalous happens, a big scandal or a big drama or a big story, whatever the case may be. A lot of people, including celebrities, social media personalities, they turn off their comments because obviously they're too scared to like look at the comments or have people be able to, add more to it or whatnot. And James Charles has kept on his comments, y'all, like consistently through like every scandal. And I do have to say, I find a little bit of respect in that because obviously he is letting people say whatever the hell they want. I do obviously think that this is for a reason. I think that he does know how the algorithm works, and the more comments and the more, traction he gets on his post, then obviously TikTok or YouTube or whatever social media platform is going to push out those videos more. So I think that he obviously does know, like, no, let me keep on the comments, because obviously, even though this may be negative, in the end, it may be more beneficial. And also it's going to bring more money to his pocket. I don't think a lot of people realize on social media that, say, for example, if you don't like somebody, but then you still like hate watch them, it's like you're literally paying them. You're giving them money. Like, people who, y'all, I've seen it countless times before. Not so much recently. Y'all know I've said actually on a recent YouTube live, I was like, people have been actually kind of nice to me, like on YouTube. Like, I want to say maybe about for the past year, but before that, oh my God, I would get like so many haters. And I'm like, you do realize you commenting on my video and talking shit about me, you're helping me get paid, right? Like, that's so crazy. Like, it's like, wow, you dislike me, then don't watch, And a lot of people don't realize that when it comes down to James Charles, these people are spamming his comments. And now on TikTok, you can actually add pictures in the comments. So they're like putting pictures of him. It's actually the picture that he had sent Kayla's ex-boyfriend. It was like a selfie like this. And it's saying, I heart little boys or things like that, And they're spamming it over and over. And I'm like, y'all are helping him get paid. So, like, you know what I mean? Make this make sense. Anyways, before we get into him like firing back to some of these haters, which It's so crazy, y'all. I'm so sorry, but I like look at some of his comments and I'm just like, oh, he got time. You know what I mean? Like low key, y'all see it in my comments before. Obviously, anybody on social media, literally anybody on social media, even like Bretman Rock, who I feel like is like the most loved person on social media, even he has haters and people talking shit in his comments. But honestly, like reacting to them is just kind of like pointless. You're giving them the attention that they want. So I'm like, this fool sitting over here writing back to them all. I'm just kind of like, okay, yes, some of his comebacks are funny, but I'm just kind of like, why are you giving them, this attention? There is one story that I do want to talk about before getting into that, because there was this girl who actually like made a video stating like, you know what, since James obviously was part of this whole Kayla situation, and he really did kind of take away from the severity of it, because I don't know why he felt the need to post his video 1 hour after court had just got out. Like, obviously, Kayla didn't get to, like relish in her, not success. What's the word I'm looking for? Sam, I don't know the right word to use, like to say like she won her court case. You know what I mean? Her accomplishment? No, I don't know. That sounds weird. I don't know which word to use. Okay, y'all know exactly what I'm trying to say. Obviously, she didn't get that time for herself, and obviously to get to be able to tell her story to her social media platform and her viewers, he took it upon himself to actually go onto social media right away and post his story. So somebody had called out, and I'm letting you guys know before the jump, okay, because it's literally 14 minutes because she did 2 parts and they're both 7 minutes, actually technically over 14 minutes, that I am going to chop up some bits and pieces so that you guys can actually see her side of the story, because she does have some DMs with James Charles, because basically she had said, I think that it would be, good of him to take his, TikTok revenue from that specific TikTok and actually donate it to a women's shelter or a women's charity. And I thought that was actually a really good idea, especially because y'all, that video got over 70 million views. So obviously he probably made a good chunk of change on that. I'm not part of the creator fund on TikTok, so I don't know exactly how the pay is, but I'm sure that was probably like a good, I would say between $10,000 to $20,000, especially with that amount of views. I have seen before though that TikTok, like I did see this girl who had a video that had like 51 million views on it, and she showed how much she made, and it was only like $400. I was like, y'all, I'm letting you guys know, okay? If I ever were to get $51 million here on YouTube, letting y'all know, 51 million views on, did I say dollars? 51 million views on YouTube, dead ass is probably like $1 million, like literally. So that's why I'm like, if y'all ever see me get that amount of views, oh my gosh, y'all, I would be the happiest person in the earth, okay? Anyways, y'all, so I just want to go ahead and get into this because she did call out this situation. James Charles did respond to her. He DM'd her and said, hey, actually, it's a good idea. And then they talked about it a little bit more. I am going to play bits and pieces of it, but I will go ahead and read their DMs, because basically what she was getting at is she didn't feel comfortable with it, because it really did seem that James Charles was like wanting her to make a video about it, because he kept on sending her updates of him actually sending the money to the shelter and like sending exactly how much money it was. I think that she was taking it as in like he was like bragging about it, like, okay, look, I'm doing this and look at this amount of money that I donated, which I do have to say this, okay, and I think that there may be some people that disagree with me on this, but then I'd be like, come on, let's use our brains here, okay? James Charles made the money from that situation. I do think that it was a very, very shitty time to post that. His whole involvement in everything was very shitty. You already know my thoughts and opinions about that. Check out my previous videos. But I do have to say that if one good thing can come out of this, which was a big chunk of change being donated to a charity, then so be it. And that's really, really good. And I do think that that is the silver lining in the cloud. Do you know what I mean? Because obviously he could have just kept the damn money for himself. So luckily this girl made this video, he responded and ended up donating. Even if he did low-key do it with the intention of having her, make a video about it to like, hype him up a little bit, and that way he could get some good press from actually donating. I think, yeah, he may have had that motive. That may be true, but whatever the motive was, at least he donated the money. So that's all I gotta say on that. Go ahead and check out these clips right here.
I heavily debated sitting down to make this video because people are always gonna say something. But I wanted to call out James Charles because I have had an exchange with him since his video of him trying to clear his name, and there's a message he sent me in this exchange that has rubbed me the wrong way since Kayla's side of the story came out, and I feel I have the grounds to call him out because of this exchange. For context, the day that James Charles posted the video of him trying to clear his name, I made a video that night basically saying, like, James, what are you doing with all the money that you earned today? Like, that's kind of crazy that you chose to do this on Kayla's day, which Kayla herself said. And that was the reason why she felt she had to get on this so early, even though she wanted to sit and bask in the joy of winning her case longer. But he really wanted to get that out just an hour after her winning. He DM'd me that night, and I didn't see it until the next day when I was in class, literally about to give a final presentation. So I was already nervous about that, and then I see I have a message request from James Charles, and I'm starting to have a panic attack because I'm like, oh, am I being hit with a lawsuit for that? Because, I was like doing that? I don't know. Anyways. So he goes, "Hi Samara, I just saw your video about the DV donation. I think it's a great suggestion. Would you be open to me stitching your video to discuss it? I'd love to credit you for inspiring the idea, but I also respect if you don't want me to amplify your video amplified on my page. Once the earnings update on the video's backend in a few days, I'll send through the receipt of what it has made. Regardless, do you have any suggestions or charities or companies doing great work to support DV survivors? I'll also do some research. Again, thank you for the video." To recap, basically, James wanted to do a stitch video with me, talking about how he was going to donate all the money that he made off of his video where he tried to clear his name. Where we're at right now is where he decided not to do that. Very key note is that right before this message was when he went to talk to his team. Okay, that's the bottom line here. So a message before says, "I'm gonna have a conversation with my team about organizations and I'll brainstorm what I want to say in my video and get back to you hopefully tomorrow." He says, "Hey, I'm looking at organizations right now. I've been thinking about the Stitch video more and I think that me making a video talking about this is selfish. The conversation should really should be focused on Kayla's justice and other women's stories. I fear that people will miss the point and think that I want more attention, which will take away from the charity. Regardless, I'm absolutely donating and will keep you posted on my research as well as the analytics when they update." And I say, "No problem, thanks for the update," because in my mind at this point, this is a weight off my shoulders. I didn't know what would come from him stitching a video of mine. I don't necessarily want to be tied to him. My opinion, I think somebody on his team probably advised him to keep sending me stuff because he clearly didn't tell his team about the initial idea of the stitch because that makes him look worse. But the fact that somebody in his team didn't say like, just, you can stop talking to her at this point, I don't know. So because of that theory I will be crossing out how much he made and how much he donated, because if he's right about anything, that does take away from the charity. People don't need to know that. I will say, because in my initial video I stated you're probably making thousands of dollars right now. He was not making thousands of dollars. But with that being said, I will now share the screenshots and all that. I have to go cross out the stuff though, so just a second. Okay, so here we have May 11th. Well, here we have me mentioning him on my story when I met him in 2018. And then we have his analytics. And then the next day he sends his analytics again, and then sends me a screenshot of his Amex donation.
So there you guys saw her side of the story right there. I do understand exactly where she's coming from, because obviously if James is sending these, you know, receipts to her, but also I guess you could also look at the situation and be like, well, she's also the one that brought it up and she gave him the idea. So maybe he was just being like, hey, like, you know, I did it, but I'm sorry, but if you know James Charles, you know that everything that he does is calculated. So what she is saying is not far-fetched, in my opinion. Y'all know me, though. I'm always playing devil's advocate and giving benefits of the doubt, because at the end of the day, we really don't know somebody's mindset. And I feel like we won't know the truth until we like hook him up to a lie detector. Do you know what I mean? So I always do give a little bit of room here that maybe he was just like, well, hey, like I was just letting you know because, you know, you're the one that brought this up and I wanted to show you I did it. So I do want to go ahead and just read this one message right here, because you guys saw the initial message right there. He said, "I went with the Los Angeles House of Ruth. They're an incredible organization here in LA that focuses on women and children that have been left homeless after escaping DV situations. They also have an extremely high financial rating, meaning that an independent party has verified their earnings actually go towards the cause as opposed to other scam charities pocketing donations. Sorry. And y'all, I've done my fair share of like looking up some of these charities and to like see like, what was it called? Like the March of Dimes or whatever. Like I was like, apparently only a dime from every dollar goes to actual charity. So I was like, what's going on here? Okay. So I do think it's good that he actually like looked up that, you know, and then he sent right here the analytics. She did block out how much money, was actually sent. I want to point this out, y'all. From that video, it says right there that they got 372,000 new followers from that video. That just goes to show you how convincing his video was, which you already know I did like a reaction video to it. And I was like, there's so many cracks within this story. Are we not paying attention over here? Like clearly there is, you know, some wrongs here on James Charles' end, and he's trying to just, you know, confuse everybody. And you know what's so crazy is like James Charles, like I told you guys, like people put like a compilation together of all his apologies. I was like, oh my god, I never realized that he did that many apologies. I was like, damn, like I think I was out of the loop on that, because in my head I thought there was only 2, you know what I mean? But I was like, damn, there's like 6 of them. Well, no shit, he's trained on how to give apology videos. But anyways, y'all, let me know your thoughts and opinions on that situation right there. I do have to say, even if he was doing it for the motive of, you know, like obviously just trying to get some good press out of it, at least the money was sent, and he did actually send her like a screenshot of his American Express like deposit or whatever. So I do think that is cool. Oh, also I forgot to mention too, Be Better did comment on her video and said, "He is so calculated and fake. I cannot believe people believe anything he says." And I do have to say, James Charles seems very, very calculated. But also I gotta say this too, like that fool's smart. He knows exactly what he's doing. He knows exactly what to say. Like looking at his like apology video, it's like, fool, you're like good. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, he knows how to sell it. He knows what he's doing. And I think that's why he's been so successful on social media. Sorry, y'all. I literally fumbled right there. I was like, where am I at? Because I wanted to talk about him, like, making TikToks and getting back on TikTok. And y'all, these are the pictures that people are posting over and over and over again in his chat, which is like I heart minors, likes minors, BTW, like over and over and over again. But he is, of course, in the comments liking some things like this one right here. Y'all acting like he's not supposed to move on, like question mark, and then that is liked by him. And then another one right here, he didn't like this one, but I'm just saying because obviously there's going to be a lot of people that still love him, which I think is kind of bizarre. And he got his follower count back up. Notice how James is moving forward and not Kayla. I think that this is so crazy that people even say and not Kayla because it's like, do you not realize everything that she went through and then finding out James Charles' involvement in it? She barely had found it out. Like, y'all, she is not dwelling on this. She is not dragging it out. Like, she literally made a few TikToks, obviously, about it, giving her story time, and she did a podcast about it, and that was it. People are acting like she's been talking about it for months. People are acting as if she's been on a whole, year-long smear campaign of James Charles. It's like, she barely addressed it. Like, sometimes, y'all, I literally look at people's comments and that has 30.8 thousand likes on it. And that's why I even read the damn comment, is because I'm like, that means that many people agree. And I'm like, I start to feel like I'm delusional. I start to feel like I'm crazy because I'm like, she literally just found out all this shit. She was only talking about it for like 2 weeks, and she only talked about it on her podcast with, I forget the guy's name that she does the podcast with, and she made her few TikToks about it, explaining her, version of the story. So I'm like, what do you mean? Like, she's still carrying it on? Like, it's crazy to me. You would think that 7 months has passed and she's made a video every single week about it. You know what I mean? Because then I could understand, like, okay, girl, like, kind of dragging this on, Anyways, he got invited to the AMAs, which I do have to say I think is kind of funny because, specifically funny because on Twitter, somebody had posted a little snippet of him, like, there on the red carpet, and there was no camera flashes, but I don't know if people, like, edited or something because he ended up, like, going back at them and saying, oh, that's so funny, because he goes to, like, was it Getty Images or something like that, and there was, like, I don't know, 30,000 people or 30,000 pictures that were taken from him. So I was like, oh, damn. So he did a little get ready with me about going to the AMAs, and somebody said, who invited you? And then 15.1 thousand likes on that. And then he writes back and says, the American Music Awards, how's your couch? Somebody right here, you do not deserve to go. Too bad. There was this other one right here. The way no one took a picture of you, and then he posted the reply right there of the pictures of all the pictures that were taken of him. I have to say, there was this one, and I am so mad, y'all. I was being a nosy bitch going through his comments, okay? And because he did that little trend for his birthday when, like, I don't know, there's like a dun 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 dun. It sounds like a beat of a song, but then you write whatever words to it, and then when you say it back and forth, it sounds like the beat of the song. So he did that for it's my birthday, whatever. And then somebody said, can I have him now? Can I have him now? And he wrote back to that, and he was like, go get a job, like back and forth. My TikTok, literally, I was like, I got a call. I scrolled, like, after I was on my phone call, I went back to it and it was gone. So I didn't take a screenshot of it. But I was like, I went back to that. And I'm scrolling and scrolling. And I cannot find that damn comment, which pisses me off. But there is 13,906 comments on there. I was just like, where the hell did that go? I don't know. But anyways, y'all, he is over here fighting back and forth in the comments with people. And I gotta say, obviously, like, he's not going to quit social media after this. I'm sure that this is his dream job, and he obviously has a brand to run and things like this. Oh, also, I do got to say that he did do like a little teaser of his birthday get ready with me, and he showed his mascara, and I was like, low-key, that mascara looked kind of good. I was like, James. And you know what's so crazy about this, y'all, is I think I told you guys before, this is my second time venting about this. When I had done a review of his palette, like, because that was a good review, okay? Because I was like, oh, actually, this feels like good quality. I loved the color story, the color payoff, everything. I really like that palette. People like freaking bashed my ass on Reddit, but let me tell you, when I did a review of his paint, and I fucking hated the paint. I was like, this is absolutely horrible. Like, literally, it was the yellow one. It was literally horrible. Probably the worst. Like, it's very hard to make a yellow, okay? I stated that before, but I was like, this is actually bad. Like, Halsey's is better. The MAC paint pot. Oh my god, the MAC paint pot yellow one, I think it's called chrome yellow, is better. I'm like, this is actually trash, People loved me for that. I was like, oh shit. But then as soon as I did a review of the palette, people are like, oh my god, he's enabling this and he's supporting him and blah 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 blah. And I'm like, clearly he has tens of millions of people supporting him. Okay, so me over here on my little tiny channel is not that relevant. Anyways, make sure you guys let me know your thoughts and opinions about everything. I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out, Girl Scout.